role to the user. So if that is the scenario, so you can find this scenario with the help of SUIM and change history. So in SUIM, like if you go with the change document for the users or for the role assignment, then from here you can make out. For example, for this test, 20 users, if you want to say which role has been assigned to this user or which role has been deleted, so you can check it from here. So this role has been added right now, right?
Okay.
So, so just now we added, right? Shown you to add this test 20 user with the common role. So if you want to remove, similarly, if any role is removed, you can see it from here and you can add it again. So from change history, you can see that. So this
Okay.
SUIM anyhow we will be covering little later because in the yesterday class we have shown you the SUIM for finding like which user has been assigned with which user group. That's what we come here as SUIM and user for complex selection criteria, where we kept the user and then we find which user group has been assigned to the user. Right? If you remember that we have done that, right?
Yes.
So so UK or Germany, for example. So that is what we did. Okay.
Okay.
So this anyhow will be SUM will covering in detail later point of time. Okay. Any other question?
How many T codes are there, sir?
I think uh, till now these T codes we learn like SUGR, SU01, SU10, SUIM.
Yes.
Right. I think like approximately 6 or 7 more T codes will be there, which is used most frequently by security team. So altogether, you can say 20 T code will be there for the security to use it. Okay,
Okay, sir.
most of the time, 99% of the time. Okay, so then we have seen in the last class like user assignment, how the user assignment will happen. So this is what we have seen. Like if suppose these two users belong to India, so we assign the India user group in the authorization section. If these two users belong to US, we assign the US user group to the user in the system. Okay, so that is the idea. Okay, and then we can create a user admin, like a US admin and India admin. And the US admin we have assigned with the SU01, and then in this user group authorization object we have given the US user group. Similarly, for the India admin we create a role where we create a role, and in this inside the role we add SU01 transaction, and then we add this S underscore user group as a group, and we add as a India as a user group there, right? So this is how we can add these values there. Okay, right. So till here we have seen this much, and now we come to this user role tables. So here always remember everybody, whenever we do any activity in SAP, that is getting stored into the tables. So like we have the tables, uh, like whenever you create a user, that is getting saved into this USR 02 tables. So, so like sometime we want to see the table and table entries also. So this has to be captured by the user using by the or want to see then these three transactions is there to read the table entry, which is like SE16, SE16N, and SM30. So these are the transaction which is used especially for the purpose of finding the like a table and table entries in the system. So how we can find this? Okay. So let's see. SC16. So once we run SC16 transaction, then you come to this table, like it, this table, and in this table, like you can keep here the table name like USR02. So this is how we can find the table, and then if we keep here the table content, like what are the content is there inside this table, we can come here, and then if we give the table name, sorry, username, B name is the field of the user. So we run it, and then you can see these are the list of users and their details are there. Like you can see the users, their like a first like a valid from and valid two dates that we can find, right? That is this idea. Okay. If you double click here, you can see detail in this form. Okay. So like creation date created by this user. This is the creation date. Likewise, you can see some information, right? And then also you can see one important information like a user type is user type, like it's just a kind of dialog ID. So we are talking about the dialog ID, right? So from table also, like you are able to find what is the different type of users will be there, whether it is service user or dialog user or the system user. Likewise, we can able to find this information from here. Okay, correct. Okay, so any question by anyone?
Sir, I'm not understood. Please repeat that once again.
See, you created a user, right? So where the user information getting stored, so that is getting stored in USR 02 table. So suppose if you want to see the detail of the users, so you can keep here the user name, user ID, and then you can find the detail of the user. Take example like we have created yesterday this user, like it has 20, right? So you can copy the user ID, and in the B name is username. If you keep here the name of the user like B20, then this will be coming here, and you can say this user test 20. You can say what is the validity period of the user, what is the start date, end date. We cannot fill anything, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then here you can see some more details also, the type of user dialog, who created this user is created, what is the validated date of the users. Okay. So these are some ideas are there for that. Now it's okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. What time zone has been assigned when he changed the password, right? Password history only one time has been changed. Password set date when he set the password. So this information you can find it from here. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So likewise, so this table is actually useful in many ways. So here are you have to little bit explore some settings. So here I'll tell you is still. So like in the table, like what input field you want or what output field you want, that we can set it from here. That is also possible. So you can go to the setting, and here you can say use user parameters, means what input field you want and how you want to see the data. So if you say field name or if you go with the field label, so means it will come as a description. So if you can say it is like showing you the user, right? So this setting that will be coming from the setting field for selection, you can say user parameters. So from here you can say if you want to add the user type also, or if you want to go with this other field. So this will be added to your input field here. So these many inputs you can fill. For example, if you want to say the type of the user is a dialog type, right? So that we can able to find all the dialog user, not the system user, or all the service user you want to see in the system. So that you can see these many users are there. Okay. Okay. So this is how we are able to find this information from the table. So this is only for the user table. So right now we are not learned so far like a role creation, and then if any, this is just an example for the table. Like there are various many tables will be there, but we'll be talking mostly like important tables here. But here you can say this AGR tables are there. So AGR tables especially used for the role. So these are the role related tables we have. Okay. So users 02, so AGR users, AGR define, AGR, AGRS, AGR 1251, and then AGR 52, AGR underscore profile. So these many tables we have in the system. Okay. 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 Now, so these tables we see later, but just a information like if you want to see which user is being assigned with which role, so this is the table is there AGR underscore users role assigned to the users. Let's see. So if you go to this table like SE16, like as example, just go here SE16 AGR underscore users is there. So if you go to the AGR underscore users and if you keep here any user detail, like for example, where or if any other users or take test 02. Okay, so here you can say for this user, these four roles is assigned. Okay, okay. So this is okay, everybody? Sorry. Mm-hmm. Yes. See, in SUIM, like you will be not be having all the details here, right? But here in the table, like you can see the details on many things. Okay. So like in case suppose you want to see some specific information from here, right? The table level information. So it is better to come here. And it's not about the use, it's about like where the information getting stored. So there are some tables we can see later point of time where using SUIM, if you want to find it, is very tough for you to see that information in a easy way. Okay. So the point here, like most of the things you can find from SUIM, that is easy for us, but still the point to know that the information getting stored into table, SUIM is a program which is ultimately like reading the information from these tables only. Okay. All right. All right, Akshay. Okay, so the user buffer also will talk a little later. This is also later. So now we come from here. Okay, so here you can see the authorization concept is there. So the authorization concept is especially like in case how the user will be getting access. So user will be getting access like we create a user, and then once we assign a role or profile, then the user will get the authorization related to the specific transaction code, and the transaction is nothing but ultimately formed with the help of some authorization object, field, and value. So this is the specific purpose or the specific way the people will be getting access. So suppose we create a user and then we create a role, and the role if you assign authorization for SU01, right? So SU01 will have some authorization object which is controlling what within SU01 also how you want to give the access to the user, and that authorization object containing the field, and the field is containing the value. This is how the authorization will be given to the user into the system, right? Right, everyone? So that is the core idea here. So we have seen also. So suppose this user want to have access or something, right? So we first create a user. Then until and unless we have not assigned any role, he's not able to access anything. And what about the role? So role is a container of the specific transaction code, and transaction code is ultimately container of your authorization object and value. Correct? Then only the user will get the access. Suppose ABC user is there, how in SAP he is getting access. So first we create a user, right? Then we create a role, and the role is dependent on his position. Suppose he's working as a sales manager. So first, first ABC, what we do, we create a role as a sales manager. So the role always we create with the Z and Y, right? So something like the role we create. So which transaction we use to create a user ID is SC01, which is a transaction we use as a to create a role PSCG, right? So once we go to the PSCG and then give the name for the role, and then suppose this user need the VA01 as a transaction to create a sales order, right? So we have to give the VA01 inside the role, and once we give VA01 inside the role, then uh, this will be also asking us to give the values. So it means we will be getting some authorization object. An authorization object will have some fields, and fields will have some values. So for example, if VA01 is there, so we'll be having some field like V underscore VBAK or something, right? Some field is there. So which will be having some field and value. For example, activity. So activity like which access you want to give. You want to give the access for create access, or you want to give the access for change access, or you want to give only the display access. So it will be controlling. Not only like the transaction is the only way to provide the access. The transaction is also linked with some authorization object, and authorization object linked with some field, and field is again linked with the values. Which value you want to give to the access to the user. Okay, right?
Can you just repeat this field and value, sir, once? Authorization, just these three.
Yeah. So see, each authorization object will have some fields, and field will have some values. So the value controlling what activity people can perform within a transaction code. Okay. So if suppose you give the value 01, just example. So user is able to create the sales order. Okay. And if you give only the three value, just example. So though user has the transaction for creating a sales order, but if you control with the value three, means he even not able to create a sales order. He is only able to display the sales order. Okay. So that is about this idea. Now it's okay. Well,
Yes, sir.
so likewise, it is just an example, but each transaction is linked with different object. For example, if you see SU01, so SU01 is linked with some other object. Okay, so it depends what value you want to give to the user. So if he's a sales manager, obviously he needs the access for all the threes. But if suppose some sales head is there or someone is there, maybe he is not creating a sales order, but definitely he need to display the sales order, what how many sales orders been created, what is the values there. So he is going to see these values, correct? So that is the purpose of it. Correct, no? Right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So that is what we will be talking here. This is the basic structure how the person will be getting the access. Now we just so we are going to see the same stuff like what we have just explained to the here. So now we are just again creating a role PSCG. So this is the way we can create a role. So normally whenever we are creating a role, this will depend on these things. Like always remember, whenever we are creating a role, we will be using Z or Y letter. And if we are creating a Z as a letter, so we can keep here Z colon. So it depends. It's not a fixed method or fixed mechanism or fixed naming convention. We call it a naming convention. So it can vary. So in that, what we do, suppose you are creating a role with the sales. So it will be like SD we can use, and then we can say if any subgroup is there, then we can use SD, and then you can take maybe sales and manager maybe. So this is how we can use the naming convention for the role, so that it is easier for anybody to understand this role belong to this module, sales and distribution module, and the position maybe the sales manager. Okay. So this we can use, and then we go over the create role. Okay. Okay, it is already existing, so we can create something new, for example. So once we create a role, so what we have to do, we have to give some description of the role, right? And then whenever we are creating a role, normally as a best practice, what we keep. So any of the description will be a specific description relevant to the position and the activity of the users. And then as a best practice, not a mandatory again, whenever we are creating a role, we can keep here the format in this form as a log. So like for example, 02, like today's date, 2025, and then who created this role, for example, our ID or the user ID by using, we are creating a role, for example, the user ID SAP BTP 02. And then why we are creating a role, something. So some of the description we have to keep it here, so that we are understanding why we are creating a role or role create because of the implementation or something, right? Okay. And then go to the menu, say yes. And then here is the place to add the transaction. So that, so if this user is requiring like a VA01 as a transaction as a sales manager, so we can keep it here. And then once you go inside, so this is how like transaction will be added. And then you go into that, change the tradition, say yes. So see, one important thing now, since we are checking here. So see, whenever we are adding any transaction in the role, and especially in the role menu, so you can see these many options are coming to us, like a plant, distribution channel, sales organization, division, what that means here. So sometime what happened, like you will be creating a role based on the restricted area. Restricted area is, suppose here you can say sales organization is there. You want to create a role and you want to give the specific access for VA01 to a specific sales organization, like sales organization US, UK. So if you want that this person has to be access only for creating a sales order for a specific location. If yes, then you can create a role with a specific restricted level of sales organization. Just example, right? So just example, like here right now we have these sales organization created. So if you create a role for this, so the person is able to create a sales order only for this sales organization, right? But if you give that all a star or all the value, then he is able to create a sales order for this sales organization, this, and all. Correct? So that is again your client requirement, how you want to restrict the user. If you say that this person is allowed to create a sales order of any location, any company code, any plant, then keep the star value. So if you want to keep the star value, then you have the option full authorization and save, by which you are able to save all the values here. Okay. So so this we call as a organization values. Okay. And then here, whenever we add this as a authorization value, then here you can see some additional, you can say authorization, you can say what you can say is the field is authorization class, right? And once you see here the authorization class for SD, authorization class for MM. So there are various authorization class, and then within authorization class, you can say authorization object is coming. And if you open this authorization object and open here, then you can say what you can say this AU, ART, ACTVT is a field. And what you can see here the against the field, these are the field value. Okay, so in SAP, the authorization will be formed with the help of these authorization object and values only. Okay. So means if suppose you want to give the access to the user for what is that creation of the sales order type, which type of sales order you want to create, and within that what you want to give. You want to give the person to create a sales order, to change the sales order, to display the sales order, or to lock the sales order, or to delete the sales order. It's your choice or your client's choice, what they want. If you want, he is able to print the sales order, he is able to log the sales order, he is able to archive the sales order, right? So these many options is there. That is us up to us what you want to make, give the access to the user. So if you want to give that user only for the display, then you can remove that. So user cannot create a sales order, but he can display the sales order. All right, everybody. And if suppose you want to give all the value to the user, then come here and click on all. So it will give you all the access to the all the fields and values. Okay, then generate. Okay, all right, everybody. Any question? Okay. So see, we don't have to bother like how many object is coming, how it is coming. That will be coming automatically in SAP. Okay. But what we have to ask the client, like what value you want to keep into, or what activity you want to perform or give to this role, that we have to ask to the client. And once client give this information, then we can come here and we are able to add those value into the objects. Okay. So once we create a role, then this role can be assigned to the user. So if you have created a user, for example, ABC, so how we can create, you know that. So to create a user, we go with SE01 and suppose ABC users is there. Okay. So you have the option to, okay, if it is already created, then you can say ABC already created and we can, okay, it's not there. What is there? ABC protected against the restrictions. Okay. Let's create user Akshay, for example. Akshay is already there. So we have the option to assign the role. So suppose if we created this role. So, so see, this is the way like we can find the role in case if you want to see the role, and if you know the nearby role, so you can keep here like Z star sales star manager, and then from here you are able to find the role. Okay. Okay. So that is this idea. So any question by anyone till here? Want anything from you? Anyone? Which one? Flow chart. Okay. Yeah. So here, see, whenever how we can create a role in inside the SAP system. So the first thing, like we will be in order to provide a user, we must have the user ID. So we create a user ID, and then after creating a user ID, like we'll be creating a role. Okay. And then once the role has been created, that is again like a one-time activity. It's not every day we create a role until and unless we have to change anything in the role. We are not going to change the role. First time we are definitely going to create a role. So we create a role based on the position like sales manager, and then inside the role we are adding the transaction based on the position. Like if a person is working as sales manager, what activity or what transaction he need. So we go into the system and create a role, create a role, and after creating a role, we add the transaction in it. Once we add the transaction, a specific authorization object pulled into the role section, and once it is pulled into the role section, we are able to like add the fields and field values. So field will be there and field value is there, and this also again controlling within a transaction. Within a transaction, what activity you want to give, that will be controlled with the authorization object and that corresponding values what we add, right? If you give star, that means people will able to do everything whatever you have maintained here. He can delete, he can create, he can change, he can archive, he can maintain credit card numbers, everything, right? Now, mm, right. So correct, correct. A- Absolutely correct. So this is something like you take very raw example, like suppose VA01 is like a key. So if you open your door, then you are able to get into the main gate. You consider this is the main gate for your house, right? But it's not that you are able to access everything within a house. So within a house, like you have some rooms, right? You have the dining room and other rooms. But you are not able to access everything until you have the, or you are the owner for that. That's why you can consider you give the keys for the cleaning person so that he will go get inside and clean some of the things, some of the rooms from you. But some of the things where you have the valuable, right, you don't want that any other person can able to access it. That will be controlled from these objects and values. So one room, second room, third room. So like within a transaction, creation of the sales order, within a creation of the sales order, maintaining of your authorization object, all this will be. captured or controlled using the authorization object and values. If you doesn't have this, you are not. There is no meaning of having only this. Suppose you have not given this, but you have given this to a user. Then no sense, right? You are not given the first starting points. So you must have the first starting point, and then you have the second starting point. Okay? No, no, not create. This is coming automatically. Okay? For all the this see these transaction is automatically given by SAP. So all the standard is already given. Okay. So what we have to do, we are only have to maintain. This is coming automatically. All right. Predefined. Yes. Like transaction is predefined. The authorization object is predefined. We don't have to create. We have to maintain only. Okay. Any other question? Good question, Akshay. Yeah. Atik, anything from you? Atik, Kavya, Mudassir, anything from you? Uh, all right, everyone. No question then. Okay. So if no other questions, so that is about like today's class. Let me give you a little assignment also. So guys, like just create one role. Okay, just to get a feel of it. Like anyhow, we are we are going to show you like in detail again. So you had to be there into the practice. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Okay.
Sir, are you able to hear me?
Yes. Yes. Sorry.
Oh,
Yes.
okay,
That's
okay,
fine.
okay. Look,
Yeah. Okay, but just a feel of it. Okay, how to create a user, how to create a role. So before like going further, you tell me everybody like you are able to do the practice, you did something or you are stuck in something. But if you're not doing practice, not good actually. So you must have to do something uh, like practice wise, and you let me know. Like not only like you have to wait till class. So if you have something like to do some practice and then you are stuck in somewhere, not able to proceed further, then you let me know.
sure, sir. Definitely will let you know if we stuck anywhere.
Uh, okay, so this video I'm going to share to everyone. Okay, so just have a look on this, and like this will help you to achieve that here. So what I'm going to give you, like I'm just give you like only let's have a simple one, like add VA03, and then here the important point to note, like you have to give the display access. Okay, and then create the role using PSCG, and this I have given you the like a naming. If it is already there, maybe you can change a naming a little bit by your own. It's your choice. and this I want everybody has to do that. So means create a role using the PFCG transaction, and while creating a role, you, for example, this Akshay, you can create a role with this naming, right? And then add the PVA03, and similarly Priyanka, you do it, or Kavya, you do like this. So likewise, you have to do that changes. So Kavya, any question from you? You are very silent. Kavya?
All good, because if I have anything, I'll let you know.
Okay. So means if people are very silent, I always got a doubt is whether they are doing, not doing, or they are understanding or no. Sorry about that, everyone. So not for this, but really I want you to do the practice, okay? And I want you to do the practice so that I will be happy for this, and later you will also by yourself also, right? You are learning something and then you are getting out of it, right? So do the practice. Not only like if you are very curious, then go to YouTube, go to the document, go to the Google. You can get many things to do. Okay, so not only dependent on this. If you are very eager, then go for other out of the boundary also and do whatever you want to do in the system. Okay, but
But
do
today
that.
class was but today class was very helpful, sir. And we learned a lot of new things. Yeah,
Okay.
especially this T code.
Yeah, good everyone, and Akshay, we'll check your question. We'll tell you once we go to SUM what we cannot do in SUM, but we can do with the tables. Okay, so once we go to SUM, it is easier for me to compare and show you. But your question is very valid. It's most of the thing we can do with the SUIM. Okay, that's important and that's easy for the security team, especially to find this information. Okay. Okay, everybody. So I will share this first of all, and Mudassir, anything from you? Actually, forgot to ask you also. Any question from you, Mudassir? Folks, okay. Folks. Let me share before I forget to you, everybody. Okay. All right, everyone.
Yes, sir.
Okay, then. Take care and enjoy the day. And we'll meeting then next weekend.
The next class will be on coming Saturday, sir.
Yes.
Same time, right?
Same time and same
Saturday.
link. Yes.
Okay.
Okay, then take care. Bye for now.
Okay, sir. Thank you.